So I know that over the last few months or so, I've been kind of a bit of a lazy boy. There's been quite a few high-profile releases that I kind of just completely missed. I'm sorry. So here's my promise to all of you. I am going to make sure that I'm going to keep up to date with all of the new proper releases. No more procrastination. And to kick it all off, let me just talk about the biggest 2 releases in the last few months. Both of which from the same brand. Yes, that's right. It's Truthear. That Truthear. You know, the Truthear that I collaborated with eons ago with the Zero. No, not that Zero. No, not that Zero. Yes, that Zero. That Zero. Truthear started out guns blazing with a collaboration with me, the Zero, and it was a product that did exceptionally well, I would say. It was very popular, got a lot of hype, obviously. But at the end of the day, Truthear is still their own separate entity. I don't own Truthear. Truthear does their own thing. And so naturally after that, they're just going to do their own products. But what products, you ask? Well, if you're not living under a rock, there is now the Truthear Hexa as well as the Truthear Hola. There's a lot of H's. The Truthear Hexa came up with a lot of hype, the hype of which I didn't really capture because, again, I was a lazy boy. And more recently, more like just a couple of days back, Truthear came out with their new Hola, which was their new entry into the very competitive sub $20 space. And instead of charging it at $19.99 like all the other people, they decided to one-up everyone and go with $18.99. Thanks a lot, guys. So naturally, as the guy who kind of kickstarted Truthear's whole reputation, everyone now has started asking me the same damn question, which is, hey, Crin, how is the Hexa? And nowadays it's been like, hey, Crin, how is the Hola? So shut the fuck up. I'm here. Watch the video. But before I answer your dying questions, a quick message from our sponsor, headphones.com. Yes, it's a sponsor. I have to eat. Headphones.com is the premier online audio retailer for all of you American nerds in America, US, Canada, etc., etc. Browse from an absolutely massive catalog of amplifiers, DACs, IEMs, and of course, you know, headphones. It's in their URL. Get anything ranging from the cheapest budget gear all the way up to the highest end Summit Fi kind of end game, but not really because everyone knows you're just going to buy more headphones anyways. They also have an unprecedented 365-day return policy, so just in case you don't like the product that you just bought, just throw it back at them. It's literally their business model. Go to headphones.com, tell them I sent you. As per usual, support the people who support me. And of course, yes, further disclaimers, if you just want to know all the reasons why you shouldn't trust me or all the things that you should be cautious about me, watch this video. 12 minutes of me just ranting about all of that. I'm not gonna do it in this video, all right? Back to the video. So first of all, let's now talk about the Truthear Hexa. Very simple spec sheet. It costs $79.99, $80, and has 1 DD plus 3 BA hybrid setup. Coincidentally, the same as the legendary Moondrop Blessing 2. And I know by the time that this review comes out, there's already going to be a lot of reviews out there, and most of them you would see comes with a very similar theme, and that is calling the Truthear Hexa the Mini Blessing 2, which I kind of agree with. So first of all, the tonality is, yeah, very similar to the Blessing 2. You have a relatively slightly raised pinna gain, a very linear bass rise, and all of which kind of contribute to a milder V-shape, but it sounds more neutral than V-shaped, if I'm being honest here. Overall, you could see that the Hexa takes a lot of inspiration from the Blessing 2's sound signature. The Blessing 2 kind of has more of an edge to it. There's a bit more of that treble sparkle or treble etchiness to it, which gives it more clarity and detail that the Hexa just feels a bit more dulled and smoothed over, if that makes sense. But because of that, the Hexa also, you know, sounds more appealing, less fatiguing, more smooth, more easygoing. I'm just ranting off words at this point. The Hexa at the end of the day is just an easier listen. I can imagine myself listening to Hexa for a far longer period than something like the Blessing 2, even though it may be less technical or less detailed. Sometimes you just want a little bit of fuzziness so that it doesn't great against you for that long of a period. But beyond all of that, I would draw the line right after calling it a mini blessing 2, because that's a very apt description of the Hexa. But it also is kind of just that. It is absolutely not a blessing 2, but cheaper. It is not. I would definitely still go for the blessing 2 if you have the money, if you have the ear for detail, so to speak. If you don't, Hexa is a good cheap replacement, but not a replacement. The big but around all of this is that while it may seem like I am roasting the Hexa for not being able to beat a $300 IEM, the real blurb that you should really consider here is that to get this kind of performance at $80 is absolute insanity. We're now in 2023. I have lived through many years, many different eras of the audiophile hobby. And I would say that the last 2 or 3 years, just the last 2 or 3 years, have been the absolute most wildest, rushiest era of the entire market that I've ever seen. Like, no, I'm not gonna say that the Hexa is gonna beat the Blessing 2, but it is absolutely the Blessing 2 of the sub $100 market. Again, that's very high praise. Like, at this point, given how fast the market goes and how different models just get churned out, beating each other over and over and over again, based on just the Hexa alone, I would just say that, wow, Truthear is probably going to be one of the leaders of the budget space in the future. And without further ado, we have here a rating of A+, technical rating B, for an overall rating of B+. And at 80 USD MSRP, 3 stars. Full it. Just full 3 stars. You have done it. You have done it, Truthear. It's done. You did good. And yet, even though I have sung absolute praises around the Hexa, the one that I'm really most excited for is their most recent release, the Hola. The $20 market has changed a lot since I've started this hobby. It used to be that the $20 market was non-existent. Hell, the sub $50 market was non-existent. But that all really changed after the release of something that you might know, it's called the Moondrop True. The Moondrop True was kind of a revolution in the budget IEM market. I know now it's kind of been very oversaturated. A lot of people think that, it's very overrated, but overrated relative to what exactly? Ignoring the models that came out after the Moondrop True, in response to the Moondrop True, might I add, there was basically nothing before the Moondrop True. Sure, you could argue like, AKG kind of freebie earbuds, random chi-fi things that you could buy off of Taobao that really just sounded like generic V-shapes, I don't know. But what most people don't know is that, yeah, Moondrop True, at the time at least, it was the only choice. It was, if you wanted something neutral at under $50, good fucking luck. Moondrop True or nothing. Thereafter, then we started to see a lot of brands start going into the $20 space. For example, we have 7Hz and the Cellness Zero, which I can't really talk about because I tuned it. Nowadays, more recently, you have the Tangzhou 1Er, which is another one of the $20 IEMs, but at the same time, I have not tried it. I can't really give my opinion on it now. Tangzhou, if you're listening, please send one over. You have the other options as well. You have like the CCA CRA, but at the same time, they are very V-shaped, a lot of bass, a lot of treble, not really in the same target demographic as the Moondrop True. And so now we enter stage left. We have here the Truthear Hola, which just a mild little segue here. It says Hola on the box, but there's a subtext that says Halo. That make up your fucking mind, Truthear. So the Moondrop True started out with fixed cables, no detachable cables. You just, whatever you bought was whatever you got. And that left kind of an opening in the market. Like, yeah, sure, you could still get into the sub $20 market if you had somewhat of the same sound quality as the Moondrop True, and you just put on detachable cables on there, which, surprise, surprise, is on the Truthear Hola. Build wise, for what was like $19, it's weird because at first I thought that it was metal, but then I was like, no, this is plastic. But now I was like, no, this could be metal. It feels sturdy. It's not like one of those cheap hollow plastic that you would expect to find in IEMs in this price bracket. But at the same time, I am really not sure. Someone who can point me out to see what exactly the material is on the Hola, please tell me. But beyond all of that, I know all of you are going to asking the same question. Crin, what about the sound? How does it sound? Is it actually good? Yeah, of course it is. The sound, to put it extremely simply, is what you would expect out of something that follows the general trend of the Moondrop Chew and the cell notes 0, perhaps the Tangzu 1 but again, I have not tried that yet. It's a neutral, mildly V-shaped sound. Nothing really stands out as being overly emphasized, nor is it overly colored in any single direction. It is very balanced. It is definitely less intense than the Chew, which could be more bright tilted. I would say that the Hola goes in a slightly opposite direction, that the state is much more dark tilted. But that said, that also means that it has a weakness in that the treble extension is a little bit lackluster. But as per usual, it's $20. And just like what I've said about the Moondrop Chew, this kind of performance I would expect out of something out of like $100 and would be the bare minimum of what I would expect out of something that is $200. And now with the introduction of the Truthear Hola with its detachable cables, decent build quality, and a sound quality that is kind of on par with the Moondrop Chew, it pretty much establishes itself as the new $20 benchmark. So the Chew, after a short reign of God knows how many months, has finally been dethroned. With a rating of A+ tone, C+ text, and an overall ranking of B, it firmly solidifies itself with a 3 value star rating. technically $19 USD MSRP. Absolute insanity. So yes, that is the end of that. All hail to our new kings, and well, yeah, congrats to Truthear. I did not do any consultations for these products. I'm not being paid for these products. So yeah, free reign to review them and kind of free reign to shill them in a way. Crin approved. And of course, now you know what time it is. It's time for me to shout out my big money boys. Sure, all of your beautiful names who have subscribed to the $20 tier on my Patreon. And for those who are subscribed to the $30 tier, allow me to speak out your beautiful names. McMadface, Dennis, Laughing Psychonaut, TJ, Daddy Saswata, Crinacle, Alicia Burrito, Alex, Frit, Andrew, Kevin, Pete Vanderwit, Posse Chronic, and Amber. Thank you all. So yes, as per my introduction, I'm trying to keep up with a lot more of the new recent releases. I know I've been kind of a lazy boy the last few months, but for 2023, I hope you can forgive me as I attempt to give you more content going forward. But beyond all that, I will see you next week, and don't die. Fuck off.